Well, hey folks, it's Free Play Frank. Well, it's March 1st again today, and I've been down for a couple of weeks with the flu, so I'm back up and running again now. I get another video up for you guys. This time I got a crane that's on one of my vintage trucks I want to show you. I think you'll like. It's interesting. And then later I'm going to play another Canadian classic, Limelight by Rush. Alright, let's go. Alright, so here is a video about this crane here. I made a video about the truck 3 years ago. It's a 1958 Chevrolet 80 series. It's got the crane on it. It also has a rollback, flat deck. You can go back and watch that video and see this truck running and driving. I said I'd make a video about the crane by itself because it's too much to describe in one video. So anyways, this crane is a Tico model K500WH, and Tico was a company that was bought out by Hiab. I'm not sure when or what era this is from, but this crane is a 1970 model, and I'm not sure what European country this was made in. Probably Denmark or maybe Sweden, or I'm not sure. But anyways, I've had this for as long as I've had the truck for, or 25 years, whatever, probably getting on to 30 years now. And when I got this crane, it was on another older truck, about the same age as the crane. And they used it to load logs, so they had some stuff welded onto the end of the boom to try to control the way the logs were, so they wouldn't swing around side to side, all that sort of stuff. And I cut all that off because I don't need to lift. I'm lifting other things, and I lift logs with it too. But anyways, you get what I'm trying to say. Everybody that has a machine, they always modify it to do whatever they need it to do, and I'm no exception. But anyways, when I got the crane, it was in pretty good shape. I had to change some of the seals and put all new hoses on it, and I sandblasted it and gave it a paint job. And of course, that's 30 years ago now. And you know, again, I apologize for not washing it first before filming it for you guys. Now we got a bit of the white stuff here, a nice Canadian winter. But anyways, it's got the stabilizers are on one on each side, and they don't extend out. They just go up and down. They don't extend outwards. And you can see I got the bottoms of them wired up, and that's because they leak down. Like if you leave it, as soon as you turn on the hydraulic pump, the hydraulic oil starts to circulate through the system, and this will start to weep down. And wires are enough to hold it when it's in the idling position, but you can see that it's got the 5 control levers here. This bottom lever is the one that operates the stabilizers that go up and down, and then we have this lever here, and when it's up like this, that lifts up one side of the stabilizer, and when you turn it to the middle position, then it operates the extension of the boom with that narrow hydraulic cylinder there. And when it's on the other, to run the other stabilizer on the other side, and I'm extending the boom, it's also extending the stabilizer down. So that always breaks off those wires that I've got holding it up. So that becomes a problem. So what I end up doing is I put a jack all underneath it before I start the thing up. And I put blocks under it, and I don't use the stabilizers. I just put the blocks under, slide them so that they're like 1/4 of an inch under the bottom of it, and that way when you start lifting, the thing's not going to tip over, because you can't use a crane like this to lift anything of any insignificant weight without the stabilizers, because it'll damage the frame of the truck. It'll twist the frame or bend one side of the frame, so you don't ever want to do that. But anyways, it's an old machine and it needs repairs, but I use it all the time. Well, not all the time, but it's actually been sitting for about a year and a half, and I just fired it up here just before it snowed. I lifted off this flat deck with it off a truck, so I got footage of that I'm going to show you here in a little bit so you can see it running. But anyways, I'll show you what the controls do. I already showed you this one here. This one here extends out the stick cylinder there to extend the stick out. And then this one here is that hydraulic winch, and this one lifts it up and down, and this is your swing. And you can see how I got this lever mounted different. Well, that's because it's got levers on both sides, and when I swing it, I want to be able to pull it the way that it has to swing without thinking about it and making it go the wrong way. You know, I don't need to change the other ones because the controls are sideways. So, you know, I've got that figured out. Like, you go like this and you lift it up, and this way lowers it down. But like I say, it's got a few issues with it. I'll show you when we go around to the other side here. But and the other thing is that the main body of this crane, where it bolts to this big wide piece here that's underneath, this used to be the oil reservoir, a hydraulic oil reservoir. But there is in the center of that boom, there's a rotating manifold that used to allow this crane to turn 360 degrees continuous, and that manifold has got bad seals in it, so it leaks internally. So I had to run all the hoses on the outside of the boom, so I can't turn 360 degrees anymore. I can just turn it around. I can lift off the side of this, like about where it is now. If I go any more closer to the cab, I'm going to be pulling the hoses too tight on this side, and it'll swing around the other side, and it'll swing maybe about halfway up the cab, and that's as far as I can go. I can't go lift anything over the front of the truck with it. But and it's hard to remove that manifold is a big job, and getting it rebuilt, trying to get parts for it, I think is going to be a issue that I don't really want to deal with. So that's why I got the hoses on the outside. And see, I got this light bar for the truck here, and there's no place else to mark this light bar, so I actually attached it to the crane. Okay, let's go around to the other side now. Alright, so get the other side here. The same control pattern, except that this one is still swing this way if you want to swing off this side of the truck. Swing it that way if you want to swing off the other side of the truck. Now, there's a control valve there. And there is another little valve here. You can see it underneath the snow there. This is like a safety valve. This attaches to the main lift cylinder that lifts the boom up down there. And that's supposed to be so that in case the hose blows, it won't come crashing down. This will limit how fast the oil can come back down. But there's something wrong with the inside of this, because when you lift up the boom, it won't come back down again when you put it in the down position, unless you got significant weight on it. So when I'm done my lifting, I position the stick over top of that part of the deck there, with a big block of wood under there, and I just let it come down on its own, because it'll settle. It takes a while. Like when I used to drive this, it wasn't as bad of a problem. I could get it down back then, but it's been 20 years since I used this on the road. So anyways, that's another thing I gotta repair on this. And that hydraulic motor there, weird angled thing there, that is the swing motor. And then inside here, you have a gear case that has a bunch of gears, a reduction. It's not planetary gears, it's just a small gear driving a bigger gear, driving a small gear, driving bigger gears. And they get successively larger and more massive, so that this thing has enough power. It swings fairly slow, but you can actually swing, like pull quite a lot with this thing sideways. So I don't really want to do that because I'm afraid that I might tear one of the gears off, and of course you'll never ever find one. Here's the ID plate. I don't think you can read much of it. It was like this when I got it. Like whoever had this before me painted it too, and they just painted over this. And I tried to clean it off and restore it, but I couldn't. Anyways, I have seen about 2 other models of this crane on other trucks over the years, and I looked at what the plate actually does look like, and you see these numbers here. There's one that says 6,600, and I think that's the weight limit that it can lift with the boom. Like this line of numbers that I'm trying to show you here. So there's the 6,600 there, and it gets successively lower. I think what that is the highest amount that it can lift with a boom close to the truck is 6,600, and it's probably kilograms since this thing's European. If it's pounds, that's something like 13,000 pounds, and I know this thing isn't going to lift that much. I've lifted like 6,000 pounds with it, and that seems about as much as, you know, I don't really want to lift more than that, but then it could be, you never know. I lifted a Chevy van with this thing. It was all full of scrap, and I picked it right up off the side of the truck here and sat it on the deck, and it was fairly long extension too, and it managed to do it. It was tough. Like I had to get one side of it on the deck and then chain it to the other side and then reach past as far as I could, lift the back of the van and swing it on. But it did manage to do it, so it could be 6,600 kilograms. But you can see up there's where the hoses used to run up through the center of that, and they come out that hole in the back and underneath that plate there. And see up there, it's getting kind of dark now, but the winch is up there, and the winch is running fine, but I don't have the cable routed down through the boom because one of the rollers up at the top is damaged, so I never bothered to put the cable back down through the boom. So, but apparently what happens with these things is when you've got the cable running down through the boom, someone will forget to release the cable and they'll extend the boom out and then just rip the cable in half. So I've seen that lots on shooting boom type cranes. But anyways, okay, here is the hydraulic oil reservoir. I had to make this tank. I couldn't find a tank suitable, so I made this, welded, bought like 1/8 inch steel plate and made it myself. And right there, that plate that's welded on there, that's where all the hoses used to come out of the boom once they went through the rotating manifold. So I just blocked off the hole with I welded that plate on there. And I also left the plug out of the bottom of the old reservoir, so in case any water runs down through the inside, it'll just run back out the bottom again. But yeah, it's a good unit. I mean, it's not a very big crane, but as far as by HIABs go, they've got far better ones now, and it came out like in the 1980s and 90s. But for 1970, this thing was probably state of the art. But anyways, it's enough talking about this now. Get you some footage of it running.
want me to spin it, Mike? Got it. I'm mysterious. I move the camera slow so it doesn't work. Oh, it's over here. You want to listen to not in the picture? Very funny.
We need to get it. Let's go. With a stick guy on the...
Oh, right. That's a good. Actually, that's a good shot. You know. No, so that's the way I do it.
Living on the lighted stage approaches the unreal. For those who think and feel in touch with some reality beyond the gilded cage. Caught in this unlikely role, ill-equipped to act with insufficient tact. One must put up barriers to keep oneself intact. Living on the limelight, the universal dream for those who wish to see, for those who wish to be, must put aside the alienation, get on with the fascination, the real relation, the underlying theme. Calling in the fish islands and in the camera I have no heart to lie. I can't pretend a stranger is a long-awaited friend. All the world's indeed a stage, and we are merely players for blame and portrayers, each another's audience beyond the gilded cage. Living in the limelight, the universal dream for those who wish to see, those who wish to be, must put aside the alienation, get on with the fascination, the real relation, the underlying theme. of dream for those who wish to see, those who wish to be. Must put aside the alienation, get on with the fascination, the real relation, the underlying theme, the underlying theme. There you have it, Limelight by Rush. Thank you all for joining me tonight, and we'll see you all next time. Today, ciao.